Hey, what's up? 6.5 here, and today we're going to be looking at 5 wave plugins that will enhance and greatly modify, in a good way, your low end mixing, which is dealing with like the basses and the kicks and stuff like that, and can give that oomph at the, and the lower frequencies, and give weight to your mixer, to your masters. It's really exciting because it really started something. With the low end in mastering. Like, I believe I'm going to experiment using this in mastering. uh Another topic for another day. But sneak peek, bass lane does it. I got it from Panorama Mastering, and oh my goodness, yes, 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 and yes. Anyhow, that's another topic for another day. Oh, uh disclaimer, I don't do these videos in my studio. uh, I just get inspired. Some topics inspire me, and I just turn on my OBS and do a one take, and yeah, that's it. Anyhow, let's go. Oh, another disclaimer: this is in demo, so you're going to hear mutes, periodically. So there's nothing to do with my sound card or anything. So just letting you know. Okay, let's go. Good. So this is the bass line I'm working with. Play. All right, good. That's without the low air. This is with. So if you're listening, which is recommended, if you're listening in good headphones or monitoring your monitoring system, you're going to hear the octave that is added. So you may ask, like, okay, so what does low air do? What it does, it generates like subharmonic content, by lowering and filtering the audio, your audio signal by an octave. I think that's what's in the manual. So basically, it just adds a octave below, um into a bass zone. I just putting it simple, into a bass zone, but it will be harmonic, not inharmonic, but harmonic, so that it will sound good with the signal that is here already. Right? I don't want to get into too much detail. You could do the research, that sort of way. I just want to give you some quick solutions, that sort of way. These are the main features here. Like, you could call them like the volume knobs for the signal. Let me show you. Play. You can hear how much it's added. Then here, you see, same thing. Turn it right off. Right. So this is a quick and easy tool to add bottom, like a lot of bottom, or give life in the low end when it comes to your mix or master, depending on what you want to do, but mainly in your mix. Okay, so I'm going to the second one. Okay, now this is the second one. This is our bass. Now this one is a little different. Now the first one, and these are in no particular order, these are just wave plugins. Right, so this, now what this does, it would add something, but the main purpose really is to add harmonics to, let's say, the upper part of your bass frequency, where you can get harmonics that can be heard on laptops, phones, that sort of way. Let me see. Okay, so this is what the manual will say to explain it better than I would. Renaissance bass lets you accurately reproduce low frequency sounds on playback systems that cannot handle low frequency signals. That's the best here. This is practically the volume knob of the, like, what you want to hear. So you turn it up and down. Okay, yes, demonstration. Play bass without, with, without. Okay, good. So I know it's a little quick, but I'm trying to, you know, do a certain time. Okay, so this is the frequency here that will be affected. You can go here that you would apply that the applied harmonics would be on the frequency. So for instance, let me see, up to 256 hertz. I'm not sure of cell phones and stuff like that. With the bass, how the frequency responses on phones or whatever. But the promise is that this offers is that when you turn up the intensity, which is much really like the volume of the harmonics are, so you are able to hear not just the bass. Say like if this is like I think it's like 40, or I don't want to say 40, like 60 hertz or so, the fundamental bass frequency here. So what it would do is apply the harmonics so that it could be heard at up to 183 hertz, that sort of way. And then this is like the volume. So this will be like you won't really hear it till like it's going to be really loud. All right. So brace yourselves. I'm going to be doing some, and it's not going to be um volume, I can't remember the word, isn't coming to me. It's like brain fart. But yeah, just watch out for your monitors or watch out for your ears so that it won't be too loud, that sort of way. Okay, let's go. It's on, play, down. Can't hear the effect at all till you hear it. No. Right, so I hope I didn't deafen you. Off, play, on, without the effect, on with the effect. You can gain compensate. That was the word I was looking for. You can hear, and gain compensation is actually, wait, this doesn't have gain compensation. Like this is, I think this is like 16. No, this is 14. And it doesn't have gain compensation. Waves, interesting. All right, anyhow, so right, lower here, play. Yep, so that's it for that. That's it for that. Wait. Am I wrong? Wait, let me see something. Good. Okay, so forgive me for being giving a little misinformation about this here. Okay, so the frequency, or the freak, it says that it controls the frequency with which Renaissance bass begins generating the harmonic. So at 56 hertz, it's going to generate the harmonic so you could hear in the higher frequencies. And the higher you go, the higher the frequencies will go also. So the frequency below this value will be removed from the signal and replaced with generated harmonics. The original bass frequencies can be mixed with the generated harmonics using the original bass on the in and out switch. So the range is like 32 decibels to 256 hertz. But probably, okay, interesting. But my safe bet is when I mix on using this, I would do two. I would double the signal, and I can have the original. This is just one way you can do it, especially if you're experimenting also. So this would be the one to generate the harmonics so that you could hear on the on the playback system, and the other one will be generating the normal bass frequency, and then you could EQ to suit. That's another technique for another day. It's something that you can use, something you may not want to use. If you know about any others, you can link me up and yeah, put it in the comments because other people could learn from it also. All right, but yeah, the in and out basically, when it's playing like this, right, you can see the signal in, and the output is obviously coming through from modulating here and here. And yeah, gain compensation waves. Come on, gain compensation. Anyhow, let's move on to the other one. Okay, the next one here is max bass. Now, people run into trouble with R bass because I actually know, actually, I used to use R bass for just adding bass when I didn't really know. It's honestly, right? Honestly, it's only when I was doing my research that from a top mixing engineer, they said, yeah, that's, it's not for adding bass that sort of way. Just, to hear bass is really, really to so that it could go on playback systems like the laptops and stuff. And it was like, okay, cool. Thank God I didn't put that misinformation out there. Yeah, so which leads me to this Max Bass, which was something else that I probably would have used in the early. This is like early 2000s, early 2000s. This is old, but still effective. And this does what RBass does, but to a more refined level, whereas it has the harmonics so that the laptop and stuff can hear. And this is more known for that. Actually, it's very, very muchly known for that. Muchly, I don't know if that's a word. Sounds weird. But yeah, so this is what you will use knowingly, because I know a lot of people wouldn't have known about the RBS for doing that. But this is what you use to manipulate the frequencies so that it can be heard on laptops and phones. So anyhow, enough of that. Um, okay, so the graph here. So this is what controls the crossover. You turn it the crossover frequency. So right here, this is the input. Again, I don't want to be describing it. I just want to show you the stuff, and then you could do even more research. But I still want you to be well equipped, you know, of what's going on, right? And this is basically the volume of the original bass you're going to be putting in, and then this here is what adds the harmonics. This is actually the split signal right here that's going to be added, that you can hear, the amount of added frequency that is going to be played right here. It's the harmonics fader. That's what the manual will call it. It controls the level of the generated harmonics in the output mix, basically. Yeah. So this is like the volume knob for that. Okay, let's put it into practice. So without play, going in. Just over exaggerating it so that you can hear. Original bass, volume. This is without. So this is just with the harmonic right here that you can hear. And then I can adjust. I hope it's not blowing out your speakers. My headphones is pretty okay, but you can hear it. You should be able to hear it on a phone or laptop. Yeah. So this is pretty simple. It's old and effective. I started this in like 2005, like doing this professionally 2005, and it's so much you learn over the years, huh? So yeah. So this is it right here that you can use to maximize your low end and make things pop out. So yeah, yeah, that's it right there for that. Because because it is not only for the low end like the boom and stuff, but also you can hear your low end on different frequencies. That's the main point right there. That's the main point. So let me just play it one more time with and without. So this is the original bass here. I'm going to play it with play. Just cut it out. This is the original bass here. Cross points. Decay how much it goes back. Right there, you can see in the end. Ratio. Interesting. Okay, that's very, very interesting. Right. So the ratio varies the compression of the generated harmonics. Just in case you wanted to know, this is an upward compressor, so it has so as the ratio is increased, the level of the harmonics also is increased. But with the lessened dynamic range, but with the lessened dynamic range, sorry, for increased ratios, you will probably need to reduce the harmonics level further. The ratio 1 to 1, well, obviously there will be no compression, right? The response controls the attack and release. Well, so like it's interesting how the modules of compressor works on almost every single, you know, almost every single plugin. How fast it, how fast it attacks, how slow, it gets back to the, or how fast or slow it gets back to the original, yada yada yada. Sorry, getting carried away here, but yeah. So just in case you wanted to know that, so yeah, this is a holistic approach to your bass, and it's very, very useful. You could go into the plugins for, you could go into the presets for a good starting point. PC, laptop, app, so you could see that the original bass is gone. So again, if this is just a technique that you can use, so you can double it up or triple it up or whatever, but you could double it up and you could use this on one, but EQing is very important also. And then on the second one, you can just use the original. You don't have to use this. You can just EQ to suit and use the original bass and tweak to suit. This is just a technique. This is not the technique to use, but you can also experiment with that. All right. So we're going to move on to this is the third. So we're going to move on to the fourth one. We all know this one. If you've been around a long time mixing, you know this one. This is the Chris Lord Alge bass, CLA bass, used for years, to get that. It was the beginning stage to get the sound, a good bass sound. I Over the years, I've just come to realize really it is for not for 808s. It's not for 808s or anything like that. Specifically, I'm not going to tell you all of these here. They just tell you what here. Bam, 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 bam. However, like the Chris Lord Alge, and this is just my hot take, is really for rock. A lot of rock, a lot of pop, but mainly rock, because he is from that age with from the rock age. So most of his plugins are mainly for rock and hardcore pop, aggressive pop. That's just my take. I could be wrong. Leave anything in the comments, if I am wrong about that, but that's just my opinion. Anyhow, you have the bass. Anyhow, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play with and without. Play. Hear it just acts fast. It's just one of those, yeah, it just acts. So when you do your tweaking and stuff, you don't even have, I just turn this up, just for whatever. But wow, yeah, so when you put it on, you can hear it. There are different modules here. Turn it off. Right, so you can play around with this really helps. I ain't telling you, like if you want a quick mix for your center bass, yeah, this is something that you can go to. Waves really, I got to do another video on this, but Waves really does tools for every single aspect of your mix. It's a mixing software on a whole. It really caters. Waves really caters to mixers. Anyhow. Okay, so this here. So I'm gonna actually just do this. Wow. Do clean. Play. This clean edge. I'm sorry if I didn't get. There's no gain compensation here. Waves. But anyhow, um, I apologize if I blow your speakers or jump here, that sort of way. Uh, yeah. So there's no gain compensation, so I apologize. Really, really, because I know that they really upsets people and stuff, and I understand. Working on that. So yeah, those are some of the starting points you can use. Depending on your bass, like these are starting points. They are not fixers, but sometimes they can fix. But it really, you got to take time to really get to know this. And this is a all over bass something, so it will fix your high frequencies and your low frequencies in the bass. So this will turn up your bass, like literally the frequency of the bass and the sub right here. But then the triple also, because there are certain parts. I recommend with this you can also use an equalizer. Uh, yeah, because this is just general treble. If you understand, you can turn on and off. It caters to certain things. But yeah, the compress is just general. I'm not sure which compressor he would probably opto, probably. Sub harmonics right here, then distortion, give it the grungy sound, getting into different bass. You got the bass mic, and then you got the DI box, which is more saturated because of the what's coming out, the direct input. Trying to get my things right, correct. Okay, but for the direct input, no, the mic, when you mic it up, sorry, when you mic it up, right, it's coming straight from the microphone, so it's going to sound different than the direct input, right? So you know how to mix each bass line according. So again, a mixing technique that you can use if you want, you can double up, triple up this here, and then you can add the different effects according to the sound that you want and the input that you want. If it's mic'd up, you can EQ it and process it differently to the direct end. That's just a technique. That's how I would do it on my mixes for clients. Uh, for some, obviously, for some, if it's like rock oriented or pop oriented, and then it got the different genres. So anyhow, that's number 4. Number 5 now would be this right here. I know it wasn't something that you were expecting, probably um, another sub or whatever, but the saturation brings out bass like nothing else. Um, yeah, mixing pros would know that saturation goes a very long way, especially on the low end, and it does things that normal EQing doesn't do. The harmonics and everything, yeah. So this, okay, I like to do the before and after. So all right, so play with, without, with, watch this. You can hear the saturation, and this is a beautiful thing because sometimes it can be subtle. You can make it subtle, or you can make it, watch your ears, or you can make it really ugly. Transformer off. Right. So if you can hear that, yeah, you will understand what's going on. A trick that you can use is make it multi-band. So I mean, okay, check. Like, don't just mix, or just follow the rules. If you can make this multi-band, and probably if you want to do the highs in the bass and put some frequency, put some saturation in the highs, you could do that. You don't have to follow quote unquote rules that sort of way. As long as it sounds good, as long as it sounds good and it's actually good, so, and it translates well, you know. But yeah, make it multi-band. There has bass relief here, so basically these are the frequencies here up to 100 hertz. I could be wrong. I'm not looking at the manual right now, but I know for sure this is sort of like um, when you don't want the bass saturated. I started with so right, and then you got the transformer. I'm not sure which transformer they use. Iron, steel. I'm not sure. Gold, brass. I don't know. But anyhow, sensitivity is very important because when it's in the green, it's ideal. I think. Slow down. Right. I honestly would make it multi-band, and this is for just different purposes, you know. But for the bass, yeah, just put it in the bass frequency and work it subtly and gently. This really adds body to your bass, adds body to your low end, especially with the bass, with the kick drum. Oh my gosh! Or even with your drum kit on a whole. When you put this on the bottom end and you saturate it, it gives an analog feel. Well, it's just harmonics, you know, but it gives the quote unquote analog feel. But yeah, those are the five. If you know of any more that waves would do well, there are more. But you know, add your contributions in the comments if you want to comment. If there's something I missed out, if there's anything I would have gotten wrong, just let me know. You know, this is a learning experience. So yeah, as even as like you know, been doing this for a little while, but still, you know, you learn something every. I learned something like recently as today, you know, about a wave plugin. So yeah, comments down below or whatever. You could do a compliment, what? A comment. Speaking of compliments, if you like the content, if it gave you any value at all in your mixing journey, you know, just like, subscribe, and you know, if you want to learn more or get more information like this, or you know, music related that would add value, because I want to add as much value as I can with what I have. And yeah, you can subscribe and hit that bell notification, and you could go to the top one, I think, and yeah, you can get every single one. Every time I bring out a video, you'll be able to see it. And yeah, but anyhow, that's it for today. Take care. 6.5 out.